People come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Small Talk. I'm your host, Nancy Guitar. Today's guest is somebody I've known for a number of years. She has been done stand-up comedy. She's been an actress. She was very much part of our show when we were taping in person. She was our production assistant as well as our clapper. Now she's here to talk about a book she's written. Ladies and gentlemen, Laurie James. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Nancy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Okay, so tell us about this book that you wrote.
I will show it to you if it comes on screen here.
Yeah, hold it up, hold it. You have to hold it up high, all the way up a little. Lee's husband is dead again. Okay, great.
Leah's husband is dead again.
So love that. That's a really good title. It's a catchy title.
I thought it was catching, yes.
Yeah.
And it sort of gives away the plot in the way you say, all right, because there's three gravestones here as she is visiting the cemetery. So, all right, she must have lost all three of them, which she does, but it's just an interesting story to get into. How did she get through three husbands in about 5 or 6 years of her life? But it's just a testimony to people like all of us. We just keep believing that something better is going to come along, and I'm going to keep believing in love and in life and keep going. And it's written in kind of a style of Bridget Jones' diary. She calls it her journal. She was given a journal for her 21st birthday and encouraged to write. So she starts writing, and through that, we get to know her thoughts and her everyday life and her family and roommate and bosses and quirky people that she works with and boyfriends and so on. And carries on through to really not a cliffhanger at the end, but sort of. Now, did the last one leave her or not? So
what made you decide at this point to write a book?
I don't actually know when this idea popped into my head to do it this way, but I've always written short stories, and I think I started out with sort of a short story about it, and then decided, hey, why don't I do it in this journal style?
Right.
And it makes for quick reading that way. And I've gotten some good feedback from it. People have enjoyed it. And so it just sort of evolved. And that's what your writing does sometimes. Many authors will say that they start creating a character, and then the character sort of creates itself,
right? Yeah.
By doing things that maybe you didn't think it would do, but your storyline takes you there. And then you get something that you may not have imagined you would, but it turns out fine in the end.
Right. So who's publishing the book for you?
You can get it on Amazon or, excuse me, Kindle, if you have a Kindle and you like to download books and read them off your Kindle. Also, I have a website. It's just lauriejamesauthor.com.
lauriejamesauthor.com.
And that will take you to my website, and you can order the book off of there, and after you've read it, you can go back and give me a review of it, tell me what you think, send me an email, whatever.
Yeah. So are you gonna, like, other than, like, who's promoting it for you other than like getting it on Kindle, whatever? Is there any way that you're getting it promoted?
I'm hoping to, just yesterday I was doing some writing. I want to get it to the newspaper here and see if I can get it in other newspapers, because the story takes place, part of her life, her story begins in Calgary, and then she eventually moves to Vancouver. So there's a lot of Canadian stuff in there. And it is set, begins in the middle to late 1950s on into the early 60s. So I've included little bits and pieces of history in there that some of the younger generation might not know, like the fact that you had to have a license to go into a liquor store to buy a bottle of booze, and you had to be 21 years old, and then you had only beer parlors. There were no cocktail lounges for many years, not in Western Canada. I don't know about the East. And you always had that separation. And sometimes if you go into a small town somewhere, you still see a sign on the pub, men, and then others were ladies and gents, or however they broadcasted it, advertised it. So ladies were not encouraged to go in and drink beer by themselves.
Right.
You had to have an escort. And so those were the kind of laws that I've included in the story to give a little back history of our country.
I think that's fascinating. I'm happy that you've done that, because I think when you're reading, because it is fiction, right? But when you
Yes.
when you include historical facts, I find that really makes it takes it at a totally different way, I think. And I really enjoy that
Right.
type of writing. So that's
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Right.
Did it take you a long time to write it, by the way?
It did. I surprised myself when I looked back at some of my earlier drafts and say, oh my gosh, I've been at it for 6, 7, 8 years now. But sometimes it just takes a long time because you want to do it right and you want to have something that is interesting to read. So it does sometimes take a while.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hold it up again so that everybody can see it nice and clear. Leah's Husband is Dead Again by Laurie James. And so your website is, repeat your website again.
It's lauriejamesauthor.com.
Okay, and they can order it on Kindle
or just through Amazon Books.
now, and also you yourself are on Facebook, so people could contact you on Facebook if they
Yes,
couldn't
absolutely.
right.
Yes, and this is up on Facebook also.
Okay, so remember that, everybody. It's Laurie James. Find her on Facebook or download her book on Kindle, Amazon. I think you will enjoy this book. I'm expecting to get an autographed copy.
Yes.
Just have to throw that in there, Laurie.
Right, of course.
And now I'm just trying to think about. Oh yeah, who did the graphics on the front page?
On the cover.
On the cover.
This was done by the son of a distant cousin of mine, who does this as his business. That's what he does. All these tech people, you don't know what they do. You can't explain it. Excuse me. So I was going back and forth with Kendall about what kind of cover they were going to design, and these kinds of things always take forever when you're at the other end waiting for it. So I had sat down one day and did a little design of my own and took it to my cousin, and because she is an artist, Pat Jaster, she lives here in Chilliwack. And I said, could you do this? She says, no, my son does this. So she sent a copy of what I had sketched out to him. And literally within about an hour, he came back with this cover. I said, that is just absolutely perfect. That's exactly. And then they made it in a beautiful bright green, which really would stand out to you in a bookstore. So I was very pleased with it.
I want to get a little personal, if you don't mind. This is about your age, and this is to encourage people. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are to start something new, right?
No, that's true. I think it was a Canadian author. Oh, forget her name now. And I think she was 84 and had been given some kind of award or recognition for some of her work. And I said, well, I'm at that same age, so maybe. No, it doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. You can always be creative about something, whatever your interest is.
Yeah, I think
Excuse me, my voice today is awful.
I know you're having trouble with your throat, right? So, but we'll get through this. We're almost finished. But yeah, I think it's great. I just want to say, Laurie, I think it's great that you've picked it up and continued with it and actually got it going. That's awesome, right? And to encourage other people, like if it's something you want to write a book or do a painting or whatever, ages should never be a factor in any kind of a creative endeavor. Whether
Right.
maybe you want to go back to university. I've heard people in their 80s go back to university.
Oh, right.
You know?
Right.
So
Sure.
that's good.
And one thing that sometimes people poo-poo this idea, well, you did it through self-publication. Well, that seems to be the way things are going nowadays, that you can get just as big a distribution of your book, even though you went to some company that will publish it and not have to go through all of the hoops and whatever that a major publisher would do for you.
I think that's great. I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, so we're
Yeah.
just going to go, like, we're just about out of time, so we're just going to go
All
over
right.
this. Once again, Laurie, the book is called Leah's Husband is Dead Again by Laurie James. You can find her on Facebook. You can get the book on Kindle or Amazon.ca. Have I forgotten anything, Laurie?
I think that covers both of it, or all three of it.
Okay, great. So anyway, so that's it for us right now. Yeah, I really hope you'll buy Laurie's book and give her a review. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Stay safe. And in the meantime, everybody, peace out.
Thank you. Bye.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.